Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Inside Eden with your friend Jamie Roddy, your design maven, tastemaker, and educator. Part of our 12-part series, Designing for the Signs. Today, we're getting into Capricorn, the workhorse of the zodiac. Everyone's favorite boss, Capricorn. And personally, I love to design for Capricorns for a few reasons. One is a Capricorn space is all about quiet luxury. Two, a Capricorn space is always going to have dual functionality for work from home. And three, it's always going to have intentional minimalism. So there's no fluff, no clutter. So let's talk about this one first. In a Capricorn home, form follows function, and something with a beautiful function will therefore be seen as having beautiful form. There is nothing superfluous. This is not a cluttered home. Capricorn needs space for mental clarity. I recently saw a study that said clutter increases cortisol, which we all know is like the stress hormone for women specifically. Oddly enough, this is just a fun aside. It didn't really do that for men. Men can live in a totally cluttered space more easily than women can. Now, I'm not saying that men are more cluttered than women. I know plenty of women, their bathrooms are ridiculous and it gives men the heebie-jeebies. Most men I know are actually quite uncluttered because they have less stuff. But a Capricorn home needs very little stuff. They need high-end materials that speak for themselves, again, quietly. Nothing is yelling in this house. Everything in a Capricorn home is quite poised, as opposed to a Gemini or an Aquarius, where Gemini wants to debate everything and Aquarius is like yelling upside down, hanging from a chandelier. Stylistically speaking, everything's quiet, elevated neutrals, high-end materials. They would hate to have a cheap plastic floor. Any kind of cheap plastic furniture would kind of be sad on their soul. I'm a big fan of, I don't care if it's inexpensive as long as it doesn't look inexpensive, and Capricorns would fall into that as well. So for a Capricorn, every element should feel intentional, functional, well considered. There's no visual noise. There's also these elevated neutrals we keep touching on. We're talking about charcoal colors, espresso, camel, stone, warm gray, taupe. Taupe is dope. Ivory, like deep forest tones, sage tones over anything bright. If you do have a colorful Capricorn home, 12 times out of 10, it's going to be like color that was left to bake in the sun. So it's desaturated. Again, this leaves room for their minds to keep spinning, to keep being acute, and for mental clarity. And visual noise stymies that for them. They're going to want very structured silhouettes, clean lines, very tailored upholstery, strong forms, architectural furniture. This is the type of client or person who's going to spend more money on a very well-made sofa other than just trying to hide it with some bright, colorful pillows. Again, it's a principle of quiet luxury. It's subtle textures and finishes that communicate success more than like obvious statements. They also have a sense of timelessness about them. A Capricorn and a Cancer could make a really beautiful home together because neither of them are given to changing things easily and often. The Capricorn, again, timeless foundations. These are classic layouts, enduring materials. These for them create long-term value and represent stability. Grounding like type materials. Again, like the Cancerians, they like wood, marble, limestone, wool, leather. Think unlacquered brass. Think blackened steel over any kind of chrome, acrylic, LED type gimmicky, backlit something. Timelessness, elegance, quiet luxury. Their lighting is very specific as well. Task lighting is just as beautiful as the overhead lighting. Everything on a dimmer, everything in the perfect color temperature for the space, not too yellow, not too blue. The lighting could be architectural, somewhat sculptural without being too zany. Again, it's quiet, sophisticated. It speaks for itself without having to say a lot. A Capricorn home has order and clarity. So there's very thoughtful storage throughout, unlike Cancers who are hoarders of sentimentality and mementos. They want anything that's not really functional to be hidden. A few tasteful photos are fine, but you're going to notice that all of the frames are matching and the theme is cohesive throughout the space. And then we can't not talk about their need for a work at home space. Now, if you have a Capricorn in your life and they want to put the home office in the bedroom, do not let them. This is terrible feng shui and it's a really bad idea for anyone, but Capricorns will work anytime that you let them. And in the bedroom, it needs to be a place for connection, a more relaxation and decompression. And you can't do that if you're looking at a stack of deadlines. So do not let your beloved Capricorn, if you are a Capricorn and you live at home by yourself, or you have a partner, I don't care, fight the urge to put a home office in your bedroom. It's kiboshed. Jamie says no. 86, 9, no. But is there a tasteful console in the living room that's behind the sofa that doesn't have a bottom shelf because somebody could easily pull up a little chair or a pod there and set up their laptop and be part of the family while still working on flowcharts and spreadsheets on their laptop there? We can concede, right? Create zones so that they feel like they can still be productive in the space while still enjoying togetherness time and family time. Don't deny them their need to be productive even in their off hours. This is how their soul thrives. And that's what all good design is about. It's about creating spaces where the individuals who live therein can thrive, feel supported, and grow and glow. And for that, your Capricorn is going to need task lighting, an area for productivity even during downtime. They're going to want quiet luxury with impressive, timeless materials. They're going to need an entirely uncluttered situation. They're going to need great flow. They're going to need timeless, architecturally significant pieces. They're going to need rich neutrals. They're going to need visual calm and sophisticated luxury. That's what they're going to need. That's what you're going to need. So design thusly for yourself. Now, again, remember, watch this not only for your sign, but your rising sign. Personally, I resonate a lot more with like a Gemini sensibility right now, even though I am a Cancer sun, I have a Gemini rising. Watch for your sun sign and your rising sign. Watch for your partner's sun sign and their rising sign to help you create an environment that is conducive to everyone's success. We want everyone to thrive. That is what good design is about. And that is what we're here for. And in the meantime, check us out on the socials at Eden LA Interiors. Hit me up with your questions at edenla.com. And if you have any like room specific questions, I'm really into those right now. I'm really into answering those for people. It's like my way to give back to people who might not necessarily be able to afford a high-end designer. So hit me up with those. I love those. And in the meantime, it's Jamie Roddy out. Ciao for now.